Inflation in Asia set to peak this quarter. Beijing and Shanghai on high alert for COVID. Boris Johnson resigns as Prime Minister. India seizes assets from Vivo for money laundering. PC sales boom has finally gone bust. Chinese brands replace Western gadgets. COVID cases rising at European destinations. Molicel set to power eVTOLS for vertical.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It's Friday, July 8th, and here are your top stories. According to Morgan Stanley, inflation in Asia is likely to peak this quarter. Economists at Morgan Stanley said that global inflation is already showing some signs of cooling. Costs of everything from cooking oils to wheat and corn, which are key indicators of Asian inflation, have tumbled to their lowest level in months. A Morgan Stanley analyst wrote in a memo, "We're increasingly confident that inflation is peaking this quarter and that inflation could start to surprise on the downside in the coming months."
S&P sees South Korea's inflation dropping to 2.4% in 2023.
Bloomberg said that Morgan Stanley economists led by Chetan Anya wrote in a note on Wednesday, July 6th, that consumer prices may rise less rapidly than currently expected. Given that supply imbalances are reversing, global food costs have fallen, and wage pressures will be muted. While Morgan Stanley's prognosis may offer some comfort to Asia's stock and bond traders, the company also said that the level of interest rates needed to slow growth and demand will not be as high as what is being perceived by markets.
The media reported that Beijing residents wanting to enter a swath of public places will need to show proof of vaccination from Monday, July 11th. The city will require live performances, entertainment venues such as movie theaters, museums, and gyms, as well as training and tutoring locations to restrict entry to people who are vaccinated. The requirement will also apply to medical staff, people working in community service operations, remodelers, delivery service providers, and conference attendees.
That's on top of having to get tested pretty regularly as it is to go into just about any public space right now. And all this after, I don't even know.
While Beijing has ordered a vaccine mandate, Shanghai recently reported doubling of cases and the most infections since late May. The city announced 54 local COVID infections for July 6th, including 2 that were found outside of quarantine, with the latter raising concerns that the virus could be quietly spreading throughout communities. Out of its total of 16 districts, Shanghai has already increased its mass testing in 10 and parts of 2 others. In these districts, the government will conduct 2 PCR tests for all residents over a 3-day period.
Reuters reported that Boris Johnson announced on Thursday, July 7th, that he would quit as British Prime Minister after he lost the support of his ministers and Conservative lawmakers. However, Johnson said he would stay in office until his successor was chosen, as more than 50 government ministers and aides quit and lawmakers said he must go. An isolated and powerless Johnson said it was clear his party wanted someone else in charge, but that his forced departure was eccentric and the result of herd instinct in Parliament.
The timetable will be announced next week, and I've today appointed a cabinet to serve as I will until a new leader is in place.
Bloomberg reported that on July 7th, Boris Johnson's premiership is officially over, with cabinet members continuing to quit, his new chancellor calling on him to resign, and MPs turning down senior government roles. Johnson and his advisors have concluded his leadership is untenable. Bloomberg said that Johnson's resignation means Britain is on course to have its 4th leader within 6 years. David Cameron resigned in 2016, Theresa May resigned in 2019, and now Johnson in 2022.
Bloomberg reported that India's anti-money laundering agency said that on Thursday, July 7th, it seized $59 million in cash and gold bars belonging to Chinese smartphone maker Vivo Mobile Communications local unit and its affiliate companies. According to a statement from the Enforcement Directorate, the agency raided 48 locations and found that Vivo had remitted $7.886 billion, or roughly half of its local sales, outside of India, mostly to China.
The new Vivo V23 series, designed to delight every moment.
Bloomberg said that India's anti-money laundering agency alleged these remittances were made in order to disclose huge losses in Indian incorporated companies to avoid payment of taxes in India. Bloomberg reported that Chinese smartphone maker Vivos woes follow a close review by Indian authorities of bigger rival Xiaomi on their local unit for accusations that it moved money out of the country by falsely claiming it was for patent fee payments.
According to research firm Gartner, consumer PC shipments will drop from 342 million units in 2021 to 310 million units this year, a year-over-year decrease of 9.5%. The consumer side of the market will bear the brunt of the decline, with Gartner projecting shipments to plummet 13.1% year-over-year. Shipments of business PCs will fall 7.2%. Gartner said that the PC market cooling off will smash right into chip makers including Intel, AMD, Nvidia, and Qualcomm, which rely on both consumer and business PC sales.
The media reported that while a decline in PC sales means a drop of the number of chips needed, traders are also wary over fear that inflation will cut into consumer spending. As of July 5th, Intel's stock price is off 29% year to date, while Nvidia is down 49%. AMD is getting pummeled as well, with shares down as much as 47%. Qualcomm, which has moved into the PC industry in recent years, is down 31% year to date. The media said that as PC shipments and sales flag, CPU shares follow suit. As of now, it's safe to say that the boom is over.
Russian media outlet The Commerson Business Daily reported that on July 4th, Chinese smartphones and home appliances are replacing major Western brands in Russia. From January to June 2022, at least 7 Chinese smartphone brands led sales in Russia. Tecno, Infinix, Realme, and Xiaomi showed more than 100% year-on-year growth. Meanwhile, the share of Apple and Samsung smartphone sales in Russia declined by 14% and 15% respectively.
The media said that Realme alone doubled sales from under 500,000 units from January to June 2021 to more than 1 million at the same time this year. Electronic retailers reported that sales of individual Chinese smartphone brands, including Tecno, saw up to 20-fold increases in recent months, after Vladimir Putin signed legislation last week legalizing so-called parallel imports into the country, which removes penalties for importing goods without permission. Retailers believe that Chinese tech brands will occupy up to 90% of the entire market in Russia in the near future.
The Guardian reported that holidaymakers heading to and from the European mainland are being warned of a growing incidence of coronavirus, especially in tourist hotspots. Greece, Spain, France, and Germany, as well as further afield destinations such as the Caribbean islands, Morocco, and Tunisia have all recorded significant rises in cases recently. In Greece last weekend, about 11,700 new infections were reported within 24 hours, and almost 3-fold increases on the previous week.
Across Spain, cases are up more than 60% from last month. In particular, the virus is making itself felt on the islands of Malcora, Ibiza, Mencora, and Formenta, favorite destinations of Britons, Germans, and Scandinavians. France has registered a growing number of cases, up almost 80% in just over 2 weeks. Italy has recorded a 5-month high in cases and continues to insist on mask wearing on public transport. Portugal's 7-day incidence rate remains high compared with most nearby countries, at 1,150 per 100,000 people.
Vertical Aerospace, a leading British electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft manufacturer, announced on July 7th that they had established a strategic partnership with E1 Moly Energy, a leading manufacturer of lithium iron cells that's based in Taiwan, and Molicel. Molicel will supply high-power cylindrical cells for Vertical's VX4 eVTOL aircraft. Before Vertical EVX enters into service in 2025, the Molicel battery system will be concurrently certified by the EU Aviation Safety Agency and the UK Civil Aviation Authority.
Vertical said that it believes Molicel is uniquely placed to meet the performance and safety requirements of the VX4 eVTOL, as the company secured the market supply for leading battery cells to develop the VX4 through to certification and entry into service. It'll be working with Molicel to increase supply as the VX4 is brought into mass production. Molicel said that its technology is already in use across space, advanced automotive, and power tool applications. Its partners include NASA and Williams Advanced Engineering.
And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. Let's make every day a fun day. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I will see you next time.